Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2024 Mercedes GLE 53 AMG Coupe. Up front is a 3.0 liter turbo inline 6, and down below is a 9-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this Mercedes GLE 53 AMG for two reasons. First of all, I don't review a whole lot of Mercedes here on the channel. I review far more BMWs, and even those are somewhat scarce to come by. So I'm always excited to drive a relatively current Mercedes product. But the second reason is the fact that Mercedes is bringing back the inline 6. They didn't do an inline 6 for many years in favor of V6s, but now the inline 6 is back, and I'm very curious to drive an inline 6 turbo SUV. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. Last but not least, huge thank you to Toyota of Naperville for letting me borrow their GLE for today's video. More on them towards the end, but if you'd like to browse their inventory, you can do so down in the description below. But let's get back to that straight 6. Well, it makes 429 horsepower and 384 pound-feet of torque. So it's not a slouch. There's another way of saying that. It's just the fact that it's not a slouch. However, what really gets me, and what I always feel with inline 6s, is how smooth they are. These engines are really smooth because, you know, everyone's in single file line, running like clockwork. I've always had a fascination and love for inline 6s, so I'm excited to see that Mercedes is bringing that back. Honestly, you're not down on power, and if you wouldn't know any better, you probably wouldn't notice a big difference of this over the outgoing V6s. But to me, there's something a little bit special about it. Like I said, paired to it is a Sport Shift 9-speed automatic. Nothing really too crazy to brag about here. Mercedes has been doing 9 speeds for several years now. It's a good transmission. It's comfortable around town, and it can shift pretty quickly, so that's all I really need it to do. Last but not least, this is 4MATIC, so it is all-wheel drive. So how does it feel to drive the GLE 53 AMG? Well, it is very two-sided, and that's what I've always loved about AMG products. They can bark and bite and snarl when you want them to, but at the same time, driving around, I don't really have to raise my voice. It's a nice, cool, calm, and collected vehicle. Visibility is okay out the front. You do have pretty thick A-pillars. Out the back, no good. Not very good visibility. However, this is the coupe version of the SUV, so it has a little bit more of that stylistic pick. But to me personally, it's a little bit less usable, so I don't overly love it. All right, Sport Plus. Yeah, it'll do it. I do like the sound of the inline 6 better. Inline 6s just sound cooler. Maybe that's because I've grown up around BMWs and M3s and whatnot, or like maybe, you know, even older like Triumph TR6s. I like that straight 6 sound. Listen. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a completely digital gauge cluster. I do like the look of this. It's relatively easy to see. However, they only highlight the parts of the speedometer and tachometer that you're currently using. Kind of an interesting aesthetic choice. I get why they do it, and you really don't need to see anymore, but cool nevertheless. On the steering wheel on the left, we do have our home and selector buttons, as well as our adaptive cruise control. And off to the right, we have more home and selector buttons for the infotainment, as well as our volume, phone options, and whatnot. To the bottom left, we have our suspension settings, and to the bottom right, we have our drive mode. So we do have Comfort, Sport, and Sport Plus, as well as individual and snow modes. So tons of customization. I really love the digital readout that they give you on the steering wheel. Off to the left, we do get a giant cloud climate control vent, as well as our power parking brake, headlights, and fog lights. And moving out of the door, we have our Burnmeister speaker, heated and ventilated seats, as well as this little R button. You can hit it and then actually adjust the passenger seat. So if your co-pilot has fallen asleep and their neck is a weird crooked way, you can hit this button and recline them into a more comfortable position. Anytime I'm with my girlfriend, I always have to do this because she falls asleep if we drive more than 30 minutes. Then we do get our memory seats, 3 levels of that, and seat adjustments. And down below we have lock and unlock, power mirrors, and power windows. Moving into the center, we do get an infotainment display. Very clear, very easy to use. We do have like our off-road modes and our AMG performance pages. Absolutely love the graphics and detail in here. They give you metrics and measurements, and they make it feel special. They make it feel like when you do put your foot down, there's a whole symphony of power and legacy behind your foot, as opposed to just, yeah, you go faster now. So I do like that touch quite a bit. We do also have a 360 camera, and this is the backup camera. Very clear and what I would expect for a vehicle over $90,000. Then we do have 4 symmetrical climate vents. We have our climate controls down below for dual zone climate, as well as fan speed and hazard switch. Then in the center, we have the wireless charger, 2 USB-Cs, and cup holders. So we will do a big friggin' bottle test, and this car passes with absolute flying colors, holds the big friggin' bottle very confidently, easy in and out. Absolutely love this. This is one of the best passes of the year. Then we have our selectors for the infotainment screen. Now, I like that they retain this, that you do have the option to use this selector for the screen. However, it is touchscreen, and that is my preferred method of interacting with it. However, there are older clientele with Mercedes. They might prefer these physical switches, so they get that. And there's also buttons for the drive mode as well. You can find down here, parking cameras, car functions for like car wash mode, downhill speed, lower the vehicle, all of these really cool functions. That's brought up with this little car icon. Favorite button, volume, navigation map, radio, telephone, all of that goodiness. And down at the very bottom, we do have an adjustment so you can raise and lower the vehicle from the switch right here. Then we do get an opening center console with a USB-C and the seats. The seats do say AMG on them. I do like that touch. They are heated, ventilated, power, and memory, as well as they are massaging. So you do have to dig through the center infotainment display for the seat kinetics, but you can also select your program length up to 96 minutes. Way better than Volvo's 15-minute intervals. This will go up to 96 minutes. Absolutely love that. But the seats are comfortable. I've enjoyed them. I'm a bigger guy and I don't always agree with sport seats, but I seem to be agreeing here today. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2024 Mercedes-Benz GLE 53 AMG Coupe 4MATIC. And a couple of things to note. First of all, this is my driving position. My knees are not hitting the seat in front of me. My head is not hitting the ceiling, so it's relatively good room. However, because it is that coupe body style that we'll talk about in a second, these windows are pretty low, and getting in, I hit my head. So it's not a very good angle to get in. And if you're looking to buy one of these and you have like car seats in the back, it might be a little bit difficult to fit them back here. Just something to note. I would highly recommend going to the dealer and trying one out before you have your heart set on it, because I could see that being an issue, but I myself am not a father, so I'm not totally sure, but I could just see that being a thing. Other than that, we do have 2 climate vents. We have 2 USB-Cs. We also have fold-down cup holders back here, the ambient lighting, and the Burnmeister speakers carry on back here. Overall, this is a pretty nice place to be. Like I said, just the entry and exit is a little bit less graceful because of how low these hang. So as you can see, kind of gotta slide out and then up. Let's talk about the trunk. All right, on the back of the GLE 53 AMG, push this up, and that is actually how you open it. They took notes from Volkswagen. Once we are back here, we do have this giant privacy cover and plenty of space. We also have this switch over here to raise and lower the vehicle. So like what we just saw earlier this summer on the Volvo XC90, you could also get here on the GLE 53. You also have this really nice floor mat. All the floor mats in the car are like this. This feels like the houses that I grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s. I really like this carpeting. So lots of memories with that. And so that is very nice, but you can peel it up. It is purple around the edges. The floor mats are also purple around the edges. And so you do get a spare tire down there. Other than that, that's pretty much it. We do have a button here to lower the tailgate, nice, smooth, and collected, as you would expect out of a Mercedes product. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I actually like the look of this GLE. I don't love the coupe phenomenon that's been going on. There's now the Cayenne coupe and the Genesis GV80 coupe. The X6 has always been kind of the coupe version of the X5, and now coupe isn't even the right word. It just means like the sloping back end. It looks more car-like than SUV-like. I've never been a big fan of it, but I think it's done pretty well here for the GLE 53, so I'll leave it be. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the 2024 Mercedes GLE 53 AMG Coupe? Well, I really like this experience. I mean, it would be hard not to, given the price tag. Like I said, these start at around $90,000. Unfortunately, I don't have the official window sticker for this vehicle, so I can't tell you exactly how much it is. It's a very nice experience. Let's get that inline six out of the way. It's great. It's a really solid, really smooth engine, makes good power, and delivers a very more traditional Mercedes experience, in my personal opinion. I come from driving Mercedes of the 80s and 90s, W123s, W202s, that sort of thing. This feels more like those vehicles than maybe its most recent relatives. I think the fit and finish in here is really nice. This feels a lot more subtle, at least than year prior Mercedes, and I like that. In the 2000s, there were so many buttons and switches and dials, and they seem to have streamlined a lot of that, which is very, very nice to see. And overall, you feel like you're getting a premium experience. This feels like a Vanguard hotel as opposed to a Red Roof Inn Plus. And believe me, I've stayed in both. I choose the Vanguard every time. This feels upscale, and it feels, quite frankly, pretty worth that price tag, especially given the weight that the Mercedes badge carries. So I like it. Mercedes is evolving. Mercedes is getting out of their old ways, funny enough, by going back to one of their oldest ways of the inline six. And I like seeing that. This feels modern, and this feels very competitive with other luxury vehicles on the market, especially comparing it to that Genesis GV80 Coupe that I had earlier this year. Man, that would be tough to decide. But at the end of the day, this is good. This is really, really good. And I'm very happy to be behind the wheel. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Toyota of Naperville for letting me borrow their GLE 53 AMG. They are absolutely awesome to work with. They are one of the original dealerships that I started working with. They took a chance on me, and I am so thankful for them 6 years ago. Absolutely fantastic inventory. I always love working with their staff. Very friendly, very helpful, so please go check them out with the information found down below. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.